All right, guys, we've got ourselves a character, we've got ourselves a floor, and it's starting to actually look like something's happening here. So let's have a look at what we've got. This is not big enough to be our game world. So let's fix that. um, what we're going to do is we're going to change the scale of this plane, and we're just going to make it bigger because there's not enough room to run around on this. So I'm going to come over to, I've selected the plane in the hierarchy list. Now I'm going to come over to the transform for the plane, and I'm going to change the scale, the X scale. Let's, I don't know, let's make that like 10 times as big. And we're going to skip the Y for a second, and we're going to make the Z 10 times as big. And so that is, yeah, you can see our character down there, and that's big enough. Okay, we can actually put some like buildings and some terrain, maybe, you know, so a maze over here or something like that. We can make this interesting, and we've got plenty enough room to run around on. Now, the reason why I didn't change the Y scale on the plane is because a plane doesn't have any thickness. It says that it's a three-dimensional item, but if you get right down on the side, you can it actually disappears as you go past it. So I could actually get in here and change the Y the thickness of this thing, the Y scale, to I don't know, we can put 10,000 in there, and it doesn't change the thickness because there is no thickness. The thickness is 0 or something. So we're just going to leave that at 1 because there's no point in changing it. And we got ourselves a world. Okay. So now if we go at the look at the game here, let's see, our camera position is a little weird. Let's pull that back a little bit. Okay, so we're looking over the character's shoulder here, and we can see that if our character was running along on this floor, it's just solid white. You can't tell what's going on if you're running or if you're moving at all. Unless you can see the edge coming towards you, this is not going to look like anything. You're not running past anything. So to solve that, let's add some texture to the floor. So if you're in my class, I'll have sent in an email to you this this file already. I've got a little image file, this checker, and I don't know, maybe I'll make this available to people who just stumble on this video, and you can download that or something. But I'm just gonna, in order to get to this into my game, all I have to do is have the file in my assets folder in the project tab, or assets folder of the project folder for this game on my hard drive. So when you create the Unity project, it writes a whole new group of folders onto your hard drive, and that's where all the game parts are. So assets is where we keep the things in on the hard drive that are going to be part of the game. So all these material files and all that kind of stuff. So I could go and take this checker file and move it to the appropriate folder, but I can actually do that by just dragging it straight out of my Finder window here, or your Windows Explorer folder if you're on a Windows machine. I can drag it straight out of here and drop it right into the project tab. And there it is. So once again, in order to just like a material, if I have an image file here and I want it to be the colors that are on this plane, all I have to do is grab it and drag it onto the plane out here. And there you have it. So two things happened when I did that. First, it actually colored the surface of this, and it looks exactly like our file did, with two dark gray areas and two white areas. So that's probably not what we were after. But the other thing that it did is it created this folder called materials. And if we look inside that folder, it created a material for us, because we can't just put an image file on this. Unity doesn't know how to handle that. And if we select this thing, it actually has a lot of attributes and things that we can adjust about how it looks out here. So the the basic file itself is not good enough. We can't just drop a file out here. Unity doesn't use that. So it understood what we wanted when we just dragged the image straight on here, and it says, oh, you want this to cover it like paint, so we'll make that object. We'll make that not an object, a material file on the hard drive to store all the settings for how that's going to be displayed on your plane. Now, it's interesting that it made a separate folder for this, because we are actually starting to get kind of a lot of things here in our assets folder. And as our game progresses, we're going to have tons of things in our assets folder. And it's going to get super disorganized unless we start putting some organizational things in place now. So the fact that we have this folder is pretty good. I'm going to just use this. I'm going to take all my other materials and just start dropping them in there. And because this checker it's not a material, but it's an image file, then we have no purpose for it other than the fact that it is the color for our material. I'm going to grab that and drop it in the materials as well. So now if we look in the materials folder, there's everything that we have. All the colors and related items are all in one place. So if we look in the game tab, you can see that from where we're standing, if we run forward here, yeah, we're going to be able to see this black line disappear behind us as it sweeps out the bottom of our image off of the bottom of our TV or whatever here. But if we were to run off into this sort of, large quadrant of the world over here, it's again just going to be bare white. So what I had intended for this checker thing to be is sort of almost like checkered tiles, like you might see on the floor somewhere. So this is definitely not what I had in mind. So what we're going to do is we're going to make sure we've grabbed the checker material, not the image, but the material. Got that selected in the project tab, and we're going to look in the inspector here, and in not under secondary maps but under main maps, there is a tiling thing here, and it's got an X and a Y. So what this is a plane is a two-dimensional object, so we've got our X is side to side and Y is, I don't know, I guess that's the top and the bottom here. And so what this tiling is it's saying that we are going to spread this thing across the width in our X dimension one time is how far we're going to spread this across. And in the Y dimension, it's gonna take one time to get all the way from one end to the other. Now, we could put 2 in here instead, and notice side to side, it goes through the image 2 times. It's still only 1 time across there. So if we put in 2 there, now we're starting to get a little bit more of a tiled effect. And you can actually see off in the distance here, as we look in the game tab, that yeah, we could run towards these other colors, and that's starting to give us a sense of proportion. But it's not actually, it doesn't look like the tile floored like I had in mind. So let's instead of going 2 times across, let's go 10 repeating tiles. Okay, that's starting to look better. Let's see what's in the game tab here. Okay, definitely much better. However, if our guy is full size, 2 meters tall, kind of a person size, then these are definitely still much larger than you're going to see on a tile floor or something like that. So let's actually, instead of 10, let's try like 50. Yeah, that's starting to feel better. Okay, so I kind of like that. That looks appropriate to me. And actually, if we grab our game camera and we can actually just move the Z here and slide through space. And now as we move the camera forward, you can actually see the floor move past you underneath as you approach the edge here. So that's definitely what we're looking for. I think I'm pretty happy with that. Good. Okay. So